Hi, my name's Daryl, and here's your Jeep news for May 6th. So on my first news story, this is something that I didn't think was going to happen. So it looks like Stellantis is considering, or more or less planning, on moving their truck production from Mexico, the Saltillo plant, to the United States. Now, they currently build the Ram 1500 in Michigan, but they build their heavy-duty trucks in Mexico. And primarily the reason, or one of the reasons that they do this, is because they also build the 6.4-liter Hemi engine, which powers the heavy-duty pickup trucks in Mexico as well. And so I would have to believe that if they're going to move the heavy-duty pickup trucks to the United States, they're probably looking at also moving production of that 6.4-liter engine to the United States as well. So Stellantis Chief Financial Officer Doug Osterman said at a conference call held on April 30th that the automaker may move, but I think it's more than may, production of some pickup trucks from a plant in Mexico to the U.S. Now, he didn't say any specific models, but the pickup trucks made in Mexico are the heavy-duty pickup trucks. So yeah, that's the one it's likely going to be. So I've got to believe that they're also considering moving other things around, including suppliers, where they get their supplies from, as well as other automobiles. So the Wagoneer S is also built in Mexico, and the Hurricane 3-liter engine is built in Mexico. Now the Hurricane 3-liter goes with the Wagoneer S, and it also powers a lot of the Ram 1500 pickup trucks. So they're probably looking at moving the Wagoneer S as well as that Hurricane engine to the United States. And I'd have to believe also in Canada, they're looking at probably moving the Chrysler Pacifica to the United States, as well as possibly the Dodge Daytona. Now, I'm going to talk about the Daytona in just a second, but primarily I think they're going to be looking at the six-pack production, so the Dodge Daytonas that are powered with the Hurricane Inline 6 engine. They're probably looking at primarily moving the production of those to the United States as well. Now, since we're talking about pickup trucks, let's talk about my next news story, which is a brand new offering from Ram for the Ram 1500 pickup truck. So if you remember, Tim Kuniska said a couple of weeks ago that Ram was going to be coming out with something like 25 new vehicles over the next 15 months, something like that, maybe 22. And he said it was going to start on June 2nd, but it looks like they're starting already. So they came out with this new package called the Ram 1500 Express. And it kind of replaces the Ram 1500 Classic, which used to be the cheapest offering by Ram. But they're offering this package at under $45,000, so $44,495. Now, it's going to have a little less features than kind of the standard Ram 1500, so it's going to have a smaller screen, I think a 7-inch display, cloth seats, things like that. But I mean, it's going to be a really well-priced pickup truck. You can also upgrade it from the standard 3.6-liter Pentastar to the 3-liter inline Hurricane engine for like $1,700, and so you know, you can get a really good pickup truck for under $50,000. Now they're also going to have the Ram Black Express package. So it's just $995, and it's available in both the Quad and the Crew, but it's only available in 4-wheel drive. But it offers the black 20-inch wheels, side steps, a sport hood, black bezel, LED headlamps, LED fog lamps, black badging, and a 7-inch gauge cluster. So yeah, really a nice offering from Ram. And so for those of you that are looking for an inexpensive pickup truck, this might be, you know, just up your alley. Now, in my next story, let's talk about the Dodge Charger. And they're coming out with the new 6-pack version. They're actually starting production of these things in a couple weeks. I think towards the end of May is when production is going to start for the 6-pack. And so here's what it looks like. You can see that the engine bay, or the engine hood, it's got to fit the 3-liter Hurricane engine in there, and so it's got like a little bulge in it. You can see the side profile. It's got the big brakes on there, and it's a really low slung, well, that thing is really sharp. I really like the way the Daytona looked, but I really also like now the way the 6-pack version looks. And finally, here's the front kind of look at it with that bulging hood. Now, originally, they were only going to offer the high output version in the 2-door, and the 4-door was going to have the standard output option. But it seems like they've changed their mind, Dodge has, on this. And it might have something to do with, the lackluster EV sales, and so they really want to give buyers a choice here in regards to the engine options. And so if you look at this video, it's from the Mopar Junkie. This is Robert, and he's actually an editor for the Mopar Insiders. And he got a screenshot sent to him by a number of folks. And you can see here that they're actually calling the standard output version, they're calling that the GT. And it's going to be available both in 2-door and 4-door. Then the high output version of that Hurricane, it's going to be called the Outlaw, and it's also going to be available in the 2-door and 4-door. So basically your choices are either the standard output or the high output, and you can choose the 2-door or the 4-door for your Dodge Charger. And yeah, so that's really cool. Now, since we're talking about the Dodge Charger, in this same video, Robert talked a little bit about the availability of the Dodge Charger Daytona EV. And he said basically they still have a lot of glut, a lot of inventory on those Daytonas. And for the most part, if somebody wants to get a Daytona EV, they're going to have to order it or take what's available on the lot. I guess Dodge isn't going to be sending out any more of the Daytonas to dealers because they've just had such a hard time selling it. And if you don't believe me, just look at this. So this was an article from Mopar Insiders, and this was the cars that have the most amount of time on lots. And number 4 in this worst list is the Dodge Charger Daytona, where they had 7,330 for sale, and they've only sold 1,366. And look at that average transaction price. I think those things were originally offered for like $70,000 or so. So, people are getting pretty good deals on them. And there's probably going to be a lot of really good deals to get. If you really want a Daytona, if you really want an EV, more of a muscle car EV, you probably can get a screaming deal on it. Yeah, they're basically saying they have a market day supply of 241 days, and so yeah, they're not really worried about building any more Daytona EVs for a while. In my next story, let's talk about the Jeep Wrangler 4xe. So as you know, they've had a lot of problems with the 4xe. They've had a number of recalls. There's been some problems with the batteries and them overheating, especially when they're charging. And so they've done a lot of fixes to them, but it's hard to say whether or not all of the owners have done the necessary recalls on the 4xe, and if they don't, maybe something like this can happen. Or it could be the fact that this person had their recall done and they still haven't totally fixed the problem. But yeah, Jeep Wrangler EV, it was parked at Google's headquarters in Mountain View, California, and it destroyed 3 different vehicles for a total estimated price of $275,000 worth of damage. And so, yeah, if you ever see an EV burn down, it takes a lot really to extinguish them. For the most part, they just kind of let them burn down. But this one took 2 other vehicles out with it. So, yeah, still, a lot of problems with that 4xe. And so if you do have one, you want to be careful, and you really want to get your recall done if you haven't done it already. And in my last news story, this is about Stellantis extending the employee pricing. So they made an announcement a little while ago called Employee Pricing for All, and it was supposed to, I think, expire in May, but Stellantis have decided to extend it until June 2nd. Now, one of the really nice things about what they've done is they've updated the program that allows employee pricing to be stacked with additional, they say, albeit select incentive, which it was previously kind of an either or decision. You could either take the incentives on one hand, or take the employee pricing on the other hand. But now, if you have some incentives, and you can also get the employee pricing, and you can stack those two together. So yeah, now might be a really great time. I think Stellantis has actually got a pretty good strategy for being able to maintain their prices, and they're certainly going to make Trump happy and the Trump administration happy with moving a lot of their production from Canada and Mexico to the United States. So I think Stellantis is actually going to be in pretty darn good shape, but still, we've got some really good pricing here that's available, and so if you are looking for a new vehicle, now might be a really good time to buy. This is Daryl with your Jeep News, and I hope to see you in the next one again very soon.